Well, folks, I finally found the famous Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign. It's a little smaller than I thought, but it is what it is. Well, I'm here at the Horseshoe Food Court, and this is unbelievable. There is a Nathan's Hot Dogs and Sbarro. I am rating Horseshoe 10 stars out of 5. Hello and welcome to the Horseshoe Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. No, I'm not going to rate this hotel casino 10 stars out of 5. In fact, the first 24 hours I was here, I was not a happy camper. So I drove here from Los Angeles. As usual, it took me 5 hours with one stop. When I got to the parking garage, there was some slight flooding because the prior 2 days there were thunderstorms and flash floods. So I went down to the elevator and there was a lot of French words. So I'm thinking, am I in the Paris? Because I went to the Horseshoe self-parking. So I go downstairs and I ended up kind of in the Paris, but there was a sign for the Horseshoe, and as you know, it's a short walk from the Paris to the Horseshoe. And apparently they share the same parking garage. So I went to check in and there was a fairly long line, nothing terrible. And the thing I did not like is they forced you to use the kiosks, the machines, instead of checking in with a live person. I did not like that. So I did that. And when it came time to swipe my credit card, I was having trouble. I did it like 3 or 4 times. I wasn't the only one having trouble. And by the way, if you look on TripAdvisor, the Horseshoe has a 3.5 out of 5-star rating, and many of the complaints have to do with the check-in. Like every other casino, there's always going to be some kiosks if you want to self-check-in, but I would love to see some more live agents, some human beings there. But this time, I checked in, and I went upstairs, and instead of having the king room that I reserved and paid for, I had 2 queens. Now, not the end of the world, and in fact, I had a great view of the Sphere, which I knew at night would be really cool. Now, before we see more of the Horseshoe Las Vegas, I'd like to thank my sponsor, AlertBot. AlertBot is a website monitoring service that gives you peace of mind when you travel. If your website crashes or your customers have trouble accessing your pages, AlertBot will notify you of the issue so you can quickly fix the problem. AlertBot's clients include many Fortune 500 companies, including IBM, Sony, Disney, Chrysler, Travelocity, and MGM Resorts, to name a few. Check out their website at alertbot.com. There's a link in the video description. You can try this service for 14 days free. Use promo code AndysAwesome20 to save 20% on any monthly or annual plan you sign up for. But what I didn't know is overlooking Flamingo Road, it's really noisy. So in the evening and early morning, I heard cars, trucks, motorcycles, sirens, was woken up several times. So I did not want to stay there. So I went downstairs and talked to an agent and asked if I can maybe possibly get a different room. And he basically said that the king room was not guaranteed. It's based on availability. Now I know if you want to do early check-in, that's based on early availability, but I paid for and reserved a king room. So I was kind of surprised about that. So he said, I can probably get you into a king room tomorrow. So the next day, I came back and talked to a different agent. And she basically told me that there's no guarantee of room type unless you pay $15 extra. Now, I don't know if that's something new. Most of the time, or all the time, I always thought I got the room that I reserved. Maybe I was wrong about that. But this is just another way of the casinos making more money off of us with this extra fee. The woman at the front desk was really nice, and she did put me in a king room, and this room is, I believe, bigger than the 2 queens that I had before, and maybe this was even an upgrade, which I didn't ask for, but maybe it is, because it does look bigger, like I said. And it's kind of like 2 bathrooms here, which is nice. So anyway, I'm not as upset as I was. Now last night, when I was here, I went for dinner at a place called Nosh. And Nosh, I hear the word Nosh, oh, okay, it's a deli. They're gonna have roast beef sandwiches, corned beef sandwiches, turkey, all this potato salad, coleslaw, pickles, potato knishes. This is great. No, it wasn't like that at all. All the sandwiches they had were pre-made, and I ordered the roast beef sandwich, and it was not good. Usually in Vegas, I will say it was good but not great, referring to the food. Here, I didn't even get to the good part. It just wasn't good at all. And that's the one thing I had, so that's all I can judge. But if you've eaten at Nosh, I'm curious what you think about the food. So a quick history of the Horseshoe. So many of you know that prior to being the Horseshoe, and it was officially rebranded in March 2023, it was Bally's. It was Bally's from 1986 to 2023. Prior to that, though, it was the first MGM Grand Hotel, which it was from, I believe, the 70s till 1986. And before that, the land here had two hotel motels. One was called the Three Coins Motel, and the other was Bonanza, which is kind of a Western-themed hotel. And I believe Kirk Kerkorian bought the land and then transformed it into the MGM Grand Hotel. Now, there were 2,800 plus rooms here, so it's not like one of the bigger resorts, but it's not one of the smaller ones either. But let's talk about the casino. I really like the casino. First of all, it's brand new, and it's great when the carpeting is brand new, and all your games are here. So for example, there's over 700 slots and electronic table games. There's 42 traditional table games here. There's 18 live poker games. The World Series of Poker is here. And the thing that I really liked was how bright this casino is, how well lit it is. Most casinos are like dark, but this one is great. And that's like the thing that really stood out. In fact, this might be the most brightly lit casino on the Strip. I don't know. 3 months ago, I was in Vegas and I was walking through Mandalay Bay and I needed a flashlight. I mean, I couldn't see anything. So I don't know why some of these casinos make it dark. I'm sure they have their reasons. Let's talk about the pool. So it's called the Blue Pool, and there's one big pool, and there's another, what they call a pool. It's really small. It looks like it's more of like a big whirlpool or a very small pool, but it was closed today. I'm here midweek during Labor Day week, so it wasn't too crowded at the pool. They had some good music going, and all 4 lifeguards were there today, even though there wasn't a lot of people. And I think there's a deep end, which you don't see in a lot of Vegas pools. I think it was like 11 or 12 feet deep, if I'm not mistaken. Also, the Monorail station is right above, kind of to one side of the pool. So if you're taking the monorail, you'll get a great view of the pool here at Horseshoe. The one thing that stunned me was I went to the bar area and I went to get a plastic bottle of Pepsi. It was $9.75. So I got a small bottle of Fiji water, $9.75. Is the water made of gold? That's expensive. I'm sorry. And I think like a small pina colada is like $22. So if you've never been to Vegas before, whatever your budget is, this is just a general thing, I would double it. Now, if you take the escalator or walk downstairs, there's a lot of cool attractions and shows down there. I do think, however, they need to really fix up that area, because if you look at the floor, it's really old. I remember when, Bally's was here, I used to go down there, and they haven't really fixed it up much. I think they can really make that a better place, more aesthetically pleasing overall. But anyway, when you go downstairs, if you go all the way to the end, you'll hit the monorail. About halfway, you'll hit the food court. But before that, there's some really cool shows. So for example, there's Dino Safari, which is one attraction. There's the Real Bodies exhibit. And this is similar to what Luxor has, which is Bodies the exhibition. These are cadavers that are placed in certain ways. Not for me personally, but some people will find that interesting. Right across from the food court is the arcade, and that's really cool for people of all ages. Lots of games in there. So that was really a fun place to walk around. There's mini golf by Twilight Zone, and it's run by Monster Mini Golf. And inside, they kind of have like this black light, and the golf balls are fluorescent. So it's kind of a small course, but it's kind of cool. And you're surrounded by things related to the Twilight Zone, which is kind of neat. And aside from this main room where you're playing golf, there's actually a couple bowling alleys there and some other places to play games. So it's not a large attraction, but it looks like it's a lot of fun. Now, in terms of the shows, we have Pottered Potter. And as they say here, it's all 7 Harry Potter books in 70 hilarious minutes. There's also Paranormal Mind Reading Magic. That's another show they have here. There's Dita von Tease Burlesque. Yes. Now, I believe there's a BattleBots show, and I saw like a couple of BattleBots where you walk toward Paris, but I'm not sure exactly where that show is, but you can check that out as well. So another cool thing downstairs, it's called the Cabinet of Curiosities Lounge, and it's basically a speakeasy, and this is something that's happening in Vegas. There's more and more of these speakeasies around. You know, you walk in, you see a bar, and you see all these objects in different cabinets, and they're from all over the world, and I think some of them might be as old as from the 19th century. And what you're gonna do is you kind of scan a QR code, and your smartphone becomes a decoder. And you type in like this 4-digit code, and you're gonna learn about each of the objects that you're pointing at. After you do this though, you wanna get into the lock's large door, and you have to deliver a password. So you pick up the phone, and you're getting a password from a voice on the other side. Now, once you're in, this is like the secret passageway, the gatekeeper gives you a bunch of puzzles. And once you solve them in order, you have the code to gain access to a different space. They do give you like a list of questions with choices. You answer them, and then you get a cocktail designed just for you. So I personally haven't been to any of the speakeasies, but if you've been to this one in particular, let us know how it is. Let's talk about the food. So I mentioned Nosh is one thing. Now there's a Jack Binion Steakhouse, which is upscale. I ate at a steakhouse 3 months ago, so I can't afford to eat at another one this time around, but that gives you an option. There's LaVazza, which is an Italian coffee, and that's where you can kind of get your coffee and your pastries in the mornings. And I always get vanilla lattes, and they were pretty good, so I like that. That's a good option. There's also the food court, which you have seen. As I said, you got Sbarro's and Nathan's hot dogs. It doesn't get any better than that. There's also Guy Fieri's Flavortown, which is not in the casino, it's just outside the casino as you're walking to Paris. So that's there. But a lot of the food places, if you really want to go out, either are located in Paris Casino, or you can go outside in the Grand Bazaar shops, and there's a lot of places out there, including Wahlburgers. So those are your options. But inside Horseshoe, there's not a lot of food options. Now also in Horseshoes, you have a few bars. None of them are really large bars, I would say, but there's like maybe 4 or 5 bars around. So if you want to have a drink, then you got plenty of choices there. Let's talk about essentials. What is essentials? Well, it's a store downstairs that I really like. It basically has a lot of choices of snacks and drinks, and it's nice and it's convenient. Let's talk about location. So this is one of the strong points of the Horseshoe. It's mid-strip. You can walk easily to Paris inside. It's a very short walk. On the other side, if you cross Flamingo Road, you have the Flamingo. But I think the most important thing is across the Vegas Strip, you have the Bellagio. In fact, from my room, I can actually see a partial view of the Bellagio fountains. And then on one side of Bellagio is Caesar's Palace, the other side is Cosmopolitan and City Center. So there's a lot of great casinos in this area. So overall, how would I rate my stay here at Horseshoe? Well, I mentioned early in the video that on TripAdvisor, it averages 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I'm pretty much in that range, I would say. I would say somewhere between a 3.5, maybe a 4 at the most. Casino is great. It's not a large casino, it's not a small casino, but it's new, it looks nice, it's well lit. So that's probably my highest scores are for the casino itself. The rooms are pretty nice. They're small, but again, they're new, and they have some color in them, which I like. You know, nothing fancy necessarily, but I like the rooms. And they do have some interesting shows and attractions here, which is nice. They have a few bars, so if you want to have drinks, plenty of bars to choose from. Food selection is limited, as I mentioned. You do have the Steakhouse, and you do have Nosh, which, as you heard, I wasn't thrilled with. you pretty much have to go toward Paris to get some other restaurants or go to the Grand Bazaar shops. Nice sized pool, a good place to hang out. Not a party pool necessarily, but it was nice. And I mentioned they do have a few shows here, none of which I've been to. But if you have, please leave some comments in the comment section. As I mentioned earlier, or you saw in the graphic, it cost me about $110 a night for 4 nights. And that's a big reason why I'm staying here at the Horseshoe. It's never gonna make my top hotel casinos in Las Vegas, that's for sure. But if you wanna come here and not spend a ton of money as if you were staying at Bellagio, let's say, or Cosmopolitan, this is a good place to stay where it's new and you have a great location, and from here you can go to other casinos. I think for the amount of money you're spending, if you come midweek, which is what I did, you know, it's a good place to stay. But is it a must stay for me? No, it is not a must stay for me. So I'm curious, for those of you who have stayed at Horseshoe, what you think. Again, please put your comments in the comment section. And that is it for now from Las Vegas, Nevada.